Hey guys, this is Nolan here with a tech video this time instead of a normal dumpster diving video. And what I'm going to be asking today is, and answering is, what tech can you get for around for 50 US dollars? So recently I just did a kind of parts hunt where I went to a guy I know. He works in IT and has just so much computer stuff. He has like 2 sheds full in his yard. And so I went over there, and he sells me pretty cheap PCs, and I got some deals, so I'll be telling you what I got for $50. So first on the list, I'll be going kind of lower to higher in terms of what I got for the money. So we have a compact machine. It's obviously old, as you can tell, AMD Athlon X2. That's actually what's in there. Uh, so here's the insides. It comes with a 250 gig hard drive with Windows 10 on it. That came included. 250 watt power supply. I think 4 gigs DDR2. That would be, just pretty standard office PC. I'm gonna sell this as an office PC with a cheap monitor, keyboard, and mouse. And so I got this whole system. It works and everything for $10. And I'll be talking more about the prices later. So I got very good deals on these computers because of the pricing. Now here's another similar PC, but what we indeed have is a custom case, not an office PC like the compact, not an office case. This is a custom build. It says Fries on there. It has this, this is like an acrylic panel over another metal panel. I take it off because I cleaned it all. And it looks really cool. We have a floppy drive and 2 CD drives. On the side we have a just USB and stuff and normal just outs. And on the inside it's really, oh, and it says Pentium inside, so I was like, oh, Pentium 4. But actually what's on the inside is different from what it says. So we have a 350 watt Antec power supply. It doesn't have a 6-pin, so I had to use an adapter for the card I put in there. Right now it has 2 gigs RAM. It has 4 RAM slots, so I'm going to put more in there. I tried to. Might have to do some more stuff. It comes with actually a different CPU than the other machine, but it's actually AMD, so it's an Athlon X2, I believe 3800 or something similar, on an Asus board. This board would have been, pretty good back in the day. And then it came, oh, it didn't come with a hard drive, so, but I have a ton of cheap hard drives, so I put in, I believe, a 500 gig hard drive, and then installed on this is Linux Mint 21.2. Now I installed that over Windows 10 because it's just a old computer. Oh, and the graphics card is a 8600 GTS. So I installed Linux instead of Windows in this computer because it's just so old and low spec, and Windows 10 tends to use a lot of the system resources. And if you want to go for an older OS, like what was originally on here would have been probably Windows XP, and nowadays it's unsupported and you're more prone to malware and virus attacks. So I thought, why get an older Windows OS that's not supported anymore? It's not updated, and it's just because it's light on resources. When you could get Linux, which is supported, is updated, has a lot of the same things. Linux Mint looks exactly like Windows, and you could get that for free, and it's still supported, and it's very light on system resources. So I installed Linux Mint on this computer, and this would be a nice retro rig. So in the compact PC, I put in like a very very bad cheapie, like a GeForce G100, just as a display out, because it doesn't have the aesthetic of like a retro gaming build, like this one. And so because of that, I put the GeForce G100 in the compact machine, and then I put a 8600 GTS in this one with a 6-pin, because it doesn't have a 6-pin on the power supply, with an adapter. So that's more of a gaming appropriate, card for just the system specs. So we kind of have a retro gaming build right here. I went for that because of just the case, and I can market it as a retro gaming PC instead of more of an office PC like the compact because of the case and whatnot. Even though the specs are, very similar. It's the same CPU pretty much. The only difference is, motherboard and whatnot, and just this one's custom. So we got this for $10 too, and you'll probably start noticing a trend by now that the systems that I'm getting are just $10 each, and if you thought that, you'd be correct. Each PC I got was $10 each, and that comes in handy. Although they may be old spec, it does come in handy when you get stuff like this. This computer right here, this is much bigger than the other ones in terms of size. This is an old Cooler Master case, and I'll pull off the side panel. Oh, that was the back side panel. So I'll just pull off the side panel right now, and you can see in here we have a pretty big custom case. This is a full ATX. Inside we have a 450 watt Antec power supply, front intake fan. No front fan. We just have an exhaust. And inside we have a Asus LGA775 P5K Deluxe motherboard. Now this is a very good motherboard. I looked on eBay and it's around $50 or so. So for $10, we did get a lot of good stuff. And I think we got like 6 gigs of RAM or something in this. No hard drive. I put in a hard drive, installed Windows 10. What's underneath here is a Core 2 Duo. So I ordered, in order to, up my sales and actually sell this rig as somewhat of a capable, old gaming PC / office or whatever. I'm just going to sell it as one. I could sell the motherboard as for like $50 alone, but I'm just going to sell the whole system. 450 watt power supply is pretty good. I always like power supplies that have 6 pins and other connectors. Oh, and this is also a Wi-Fi board. The Wi-Fi is no longer working because this thing is loose, the actual part where the antenna connects to. But other than that, I mean, I didn't know Wi-Fi boards existed for LGA775. And so it's a very nice Asus motherboard in there with a not so nice CPU, a Core 2 Duo, but I'm going to put a Core 2 Quad Q6600 in there. And you could actually overclock on this board. I don't have I have a bigger stock cooler that came with this, but I just took it off because it's so frustrating putting it on. I just put a smaller one on. But what I can do, I'm going to take the Core 2 Duo out, maybe save that for another system, or sell it separately. And then we can put a Core 2 Quad in there, and then we could overclock it, same as the RAM, to, kind of make it a better gaming PC. And then for the GPU, we're going to be putting in a HD 6770 1 gig DDR5. This card is decent in my experience. You could play. I had this in my Dell Optiplex for a little bit. It was just like $5 or something. It's so inexpensive, good card. I mean, 1 gig of DDR5. It's not good, but it's not bad. Especially for an older system like this, you can still play older games, especially with the Core 2 Quad in there. 4 cores, so you can play some older games and some easier to run games. 500 gig hard drive with Windows 10 that I put in there. I did some cable management. It's hard to do cable management in these old cases, but I did use some Velcro tape on it. I used some Velcro tape and did some tucking to kind of make it look less like a jungle sandwich compared to what was in there. And yeah, it's a pretty nice looking PC. Again, I got this for $10, which is a very nice deal considering the motherboard that was in there. And now we're going to be going to this PC, which is really good for $10 because I have some plans with this one. This one is very good for an OEM computer. Normally, if you know about computers, you'll know that OEMs tend to have proprietary parts in them. So they'll have non-standard like motherboards, non-standard connections for the power supply and on the motherboard itself, which makes it very difficult to, let's say to a GPU upgrade where you need your GPU needs a 6-pin power connector and 8-pin, and then you don't have it. And then what you have to do in that scenario is get an adapter, which is a couple bucks, but it's just not convenient. So I prefer non-standard parts, and this is actually, I prefer standard parts, especially for OEMs, considering most of them are proprietary, like Dell, HP's, Lenovo, stuff like that. Some of them use proprietary parts, most of them. This one doesn't. So what we have here is a 450 watt power supply. It is just a standard ATX. We actually have a 6-pin power connector in there. It's this. My lighting's a little bad in here, but so we have a 6-pin power connector. The motherboard itself is just normal micro ATX. It's an ASUS board. I can tell by the little writing right here. It's an ASUS board, just made for an OEM. 4 DIMM slots. Got a PCI connector. Just standard 24-pin. So everything's standard in this. This is a normal micro ATX motherboard. This is a normal power supply. It has normal connectors. And no drives or anything included. No CPU, no RAM, but the pins aren't bent on this. The RAM slots, everything is fully functional. I just haven't been able to actually test it with the CPU. But I ordered a 2500K to put in here. This is a second and third gen. It would be motherboard, so you could put in something like a i5 2500, i7 2600, i7 3770, and I went for second gen because I don't really want to do a BIOS update on a board this old, because I just don't want to brick it, or what is this? HP might not actually have another BIOS update for this to support third gen CPUs, so I did do an i5 2500K I got for $8, which is a pretty good deal. I just put in the best offer, so i5 2500K in here. And then since we have a 6-pin connector, I don't really have any GPUs that I could put in here just yet that would really, fit it, like a i5 2500K. So I think what I'm going to do is, on eBay there are these like modified 1063 gigs. This guy's selling, like, he has hundreds of them and they're like $45. And so what I could do there is take that 1063 gig, put this in here. We have a 6-pin, so powered on. I paired with the i5 2500K and like 8 gigs of DDR3, which I have plenty of DDR3. Could put that in there, and that's a pretty decent gaming PC. So it's a 1060 and everything, and an i5. That, and where I am, that would be an easy $200 sale. So we could go. So for I bought this system for $10, just like every other PC with parts in it. I bought it for $10, and we could easily do like $60 worth of upgrades. The GPU is most of it, and just the i5 for $8. Yes, about $60 or so will get this PC really well, and I could sell it for easily for $200. That's not even the most profit I've ever made on a computer. So we have that PC for $10. Then we'll go to non-computer just stuff like this. So we got a case for $5. This is a pretty big. It's heavy. It's a heavy case. It's micro ATX. I learned that because I tried to put in a motherboard that I'll show you in a second here. In it, which was full ATX. It has acoustic foam on it for soundproofing. I don't know how good that will be for airflow, but it does have 3 Thermaltake fans installed in it, so airflow should be pretty good. So it has this acoustic foam on there to block out sound, and it has that on the inside too. It's a micro ATX case in here from this white kind of thing. I think it's a Thermaltake. We have USB 3 on the front. We have 3 fans. We have front intake fans and rear exhaust fan. No power supplies, no. We have 1 drive, that's about it. That's all that came with it. But for $5, this is a really nice case. You could put in just a micro ATX board like any of them, and this is a solid case for that, especially since you have that soundproofing stuff. I could really market that. I could be like, fully quiet PC. Like, while you're gaming, this thing won't make like any noise. It has that foam on the front. We have this part, which has a pretty good grill with the fans on the other side of it. So our airflow should be decent if you have this open. If it's closed, with that foam, nothing's really getting through. Not much air is getting through. So maybe for airflow, this isn't the best case, but if you want a super quiet PC, you got this, and it's a pretty good case. For $5, this is a really good case. I paid more for cases that I don't like nearly as much as this, and that are cheaper quality. This is very, very heavy, and this feels nice. So then we'll go to our final deal. So this, I put this actually in a case already. Originally, it didn't come with a case. This isn't a case I got from the person, but we have this machine here, and this was the best deal that I got, aside from maybe the Core 2 Duo PC with that Asus motherboard that was pretty expensive. So don't mind the GPU here, I just put that in. We have this Gigabyte board, AM3 board, with the FX 6100 underneath there, which is technically 6 cores. That's what they marketed it as. It's more like 3 cores with hyper-threading. And then we got 8 gigs RAM. I put 16 in here. So yeah, we got this motherboard like in the box. I don't know if it's brand new because this guy doesn't really carry brand new stuff, but he tested it. It does work. It works fine. And we have this stock cooler on there that's actually pretty beefy. It has like copper heat pipes and everything. It's way better than an Intel stock cooler, and it seems better than a normal AM4 style cooler. It has heat pipes in it and everything. It looks really nice. So we got that for $15, which is a really good deal. Because FX CPUs, if you know about computer stuff, like even though they're old, they tend to be pretty overpriced even today. I don't know about the motherboard side of it, but for $15, getting like a good, a 6 core, a stock cooler, 8 gigs of RAM, and like an overclockable motherboard, like a Gigabyte one that works, is pretty cool. For $15, it's honestly a very good deal. This guy gives me really good deals just because he has so much stuff and and whatnot. So this is the case this is the box that it came in. It's actually the original case. It's very dirty. This guy has these computers and stuff in sheds outside, but they're protected from rain and stuff, so that's pretty much all that matters. So it's a Gigabyte 970AD3. Yes, it could overclock. It's a nice looking motherboard. It even came with like original stuff in the packaging in here, like unopened, like the SLI cable and like these different connection headers for it, and it came in there just like pretty much untouched. So that's cool that it came with a box and everything for $15. It's honestly a very good deal. So I'll put that in that case that I put it in there with the GTX 760, which is fitting for the era of computer it is. And so yeah, for $50 you can get a lot of computers. If you think about it, $50 isn't that much. I'll say this: you do have to have a good connection, right? Like, if you just buy one PC at a time from people, they're not going to sell you a $10 little computer like that with all those parts in it, because even if it's old, like the Core 2 Duos or whatever, they still have, just because it's old doesn't mean the parts aren't like decent. The Asus board is like $50 on its own. It's a Wi-Fi board, which I didn't know even existed for LGA775, and it's a really good motherboard. It was like top of the line back in the day, and that's a good Cooler Master case. You can put other parts in there just fine, and a 450 watt, decent power supply. So you have all those connections. So in terms of upgrade path, you still have the base stuff. Even if the parts maybe aren't the best, you can sell those. And with the Core 2 quad and this 6770, that should shape up to be a good budget PC. I'd say that's in the above $100 price range that I'd sell it for. The i5 2500K and the 1060 3 gig that'll be in that PC, that'll be the $200 price point. For the kind of retro computers, like that retro gaming one I showed you in that silver case, that one will be more like, I'd go near 100 but sub $100 for that. I think 80 would be a good price point for that, and considering it basically with stuff I already had and it's very few like real upgrades, that probably cost me around $15 or so. So selling for about 80 to 90 would be a good deal. The FX PC with the 760 is damn near it basically just cost me $15 because that 760 I got in another computer for dirt cheap from someone else. You know, untested and everything, and it works perfect. Perfect. I sold for a profit already. The other parts, other than the 760, so that 760 basically paid for itself. So that FX computer is basically a $15 computer after all the other sales, and that will shape up to be pretty good. That's like that'd be around the $200 price point. I'm just giving you guys the prices of what people would pay for systems of these specs in my area. This isn't for everybody. And this is local too. If you're going on eBay, you're gonna be paying a lot more for. I mean, even less. Like a $10 computer here is different than a $10 computer on eBay. I mean, you probably won't even get a case for $10 on eBay because just of the shipping and weight. But you get local, you talk to somebody in IP tech recycling, and you could get a damn good deal because a lot of the times those people have more stuff than they know what to do with. So thank you guys for watching this video. This is what you can get for $50 if you ask around and you have some decent connections. You could get 4 computers with parts in them, and then I got a case and a motherboard for basically another PC. So all in all, that's about 5 computers for $50 with about 3 pretty decent spec ones considering the age of the parts that's inside them. So thank you guys for watching. I hope if you do used parts hunting, you could find good connections like I have, and you could get cheap deals and you can make good profit because, it's a pretty good market to be in. Everybody needs computers these days. As for cleaning, I cleaned all of them up except for the ones I didn't currently use or install an OS on because I didn't have parts. So I didn't clean up that $5 case, and I didn't clean up the i5 2500K PC that I'll be putting in there. The other ones I gave a nice clean with an air compressor, alcohol, and then after I got finished, I put this brake cleaner on them. Now, brake cleaner is non-conductive, non-capacitive, so it's perfectly safe to use with PC parts, as long as you get non-acetone ones, because those can eat parts on the motherboard. It just gives them a nice shine, and brake cleaner is literally used to remove dust and things from car parts and brakes and stuff. So it's perfectly safe to use on PC parts. It gives it a nice protective coating. It makes it shine, and it's safe. So Tech Yes City taught me about brake cleaner, and the cans are pretty cheap. I mean, I just got mine in my garage for free. It's just just laying around, and yeah, so you can clean these up pretty easily. You want to get into PC flipping and stuff, just you could ask me questions and just look on your local market because you could probably find some good deals. Now, thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next video.